Welcome back to Memory Lane, episode 11. Craig Collins, Ben Bousman. Now, real quick, before we get underway, Ben has a question for you. You guys decide in the comments,
Yeah.
Does the guy at the bottom left in the Cubs hat look a little bit like Ben? It kind of does in a way.
A little more disgruntled.
I can see it.
Yeah.
That's been in an alternate universe where he moves to San Francisco.
Yeah, like I went to get my nachos and maybe I dropped them on the way back. Like that kind of angry.
I feel like that's actually happened to you.
Exactly.
Of this shot.
Yeah.
But we're taking a break from the Big Ten championships for a little bit. Right now, it's postseason baseball going on right now, so we thought it'd be fun to kind of relive a postseason that means a lot to both of us. We're both big Cubs fans. 2016 was a great year, and instead of watching the last 3 games of the World Series, as great as those were, I feel like when people look back at the 2016 Cubs season, those are the games they really focus on. I was like, let's go ahead and look at some of the clinching games as well that the Cubs were able to win. So this is the NLDS Game 4, Cubs and the Giants. Cubs currently down 5-2, facing a potential Game 5. I remember I was on my honeymoon watching this game. You guys decide if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
But I was watching this game and I was like, please, the Cubs need to find a way to come back, because looming in Game 5 was Johnny Cueto, who had held the Cubs to 1 run in Game 1, albeit a loss.
And who almost had a no-hitter this season.
Right.
Didn't he almost...
this season, 2020. But also the fact that you're almost assuredly going to have Madison Bumgarner coming out of the bullpen. It is the postseason.
Yes.
So you have the combo of Cueto and Bumgarner kind of looming in Game 5, and so I was like, this is... Even though it's not, it's a must win for the Cubs. So they come into this game down 5-2, going in the top of the 9th.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hop right into it here.
Bye, Ben.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, Derek Law had actually come in the extra inning games the night before, because the night before was Bumgarner's start, and the Cubs had lost that one, so lost that one in extra innings. You had the Giants, who this was an even-numbered year, so they had that streak going where they had won in 2010, 2012, and 2014. So
everything against the Cubs right now,
Yeah.
Rally cap.
Yeah, that's the classic rally cap right there.
I miss the old Bryant, and by old Bryant I mean the one that
could
didn't have
baseball.
injuries. And just stay off, the injury report.
Right, and I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer,
Right.
but like at the same time too, this was fun too. Every single, basically every batter, different pitcher for Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the rumors of possibly Miles Turner getting traded for the Pacers or Victor Oladipo possibly leaving for the Pacers. Like, I don't want to see it happen, but I've kind of made my peace that like maybe KB isn't one of the people they keep, around.
I mean, what could they get?
Right.
Are people going to look at his past and what he could do, or they just focus on injuries?
They're gonna look at, if it's the right situation, they'll look at his past and be like, hey, because with a player like Chris Bryant, every team's gonna look at him like, hey, we can fix him. We can
right. Whether it's batting,
his swing, whatever.
But I will tell you this, that I don't want to see him go for the simple fact that him and Rizzo are by far my favorite, tandem. Yeah.
Yeah, bromance.
I mean, Rizzo.
Yeah. Sergio Romo.
Now, I got a bone to pick with Romo. I picked him up on my fantasy team this year.
Tony Romo?
Yeah, Tony Romo. Yes, no. I picked him up, and for the holds, nope.
Yeah. Holds are very fickle.
Yes.
In fantasy baseball, that's for sure.
I mean, he wasn't bad this year, and of course now he's with the Twins, so.
Mm-hmm. Also, the guy who closed out the 2012 World Series for the Giants when they beat the Tigers, struck out Miguel Cabrera to end the ball game. But yeah, you're kind of just thinking here if they can get something going here a little bit with Rizzo and Bryant. And you've got Zobrist, who's always been so good. There's the manager, Grandpa Rossi, Jake Arrieta.
Oh, I miss Arrieta.
His team was so good. I mean, obviously they won the World Series in 103 games, but still.
I saw Arrieta pitch against the Reds in Cincy.
Yeah.
And he had a home run that game. He was one of those pitchers that,
Well, he had a home run the night before in the series, yeah. I saw Arrieta pitch against the Rockies earlier this season in a game the Cubs won. So
like 2020?
No,
I don't think anybody saw him pitch.
No. 2016. Yeah, when I said this season, I meant the season we're watching. Yes, 2016. Yes. I guess that is a little
Did you sneak into a game?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely very nervous watching, this game because I was, you're as a Cubs fan, you're always thinking, okay, what's gonna happen? He's gonna ground into a
too good to be true.
Yeah, Zobrist probably is gonna ground into a double play, be a runner at third. They'll maybe push Chris Bryant across, but not much more.
Get beamed with the baseball and still be called out.
Yeah, something like that.
I miss man.
Yeah.
Their largest comeback entering the ninth was exactly the 3-run deficit.
And his performance this year with the Angels kind of makes me feel like it was the right move. But I also feel like Madden got kind of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the team, as far as decision making goes, the team. Not that I don't know how to run a baseball team.
Yeah.
Any better than you guys watching out there. But when you don't do anything to address the bullpen,
right.
You let people go in free agency. You don't even attempt to re-sign people. Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, obviously one's significantly less expensive, but both had interest in playing with Chicago, and they decide they are like, yeah, we'll just run it back with the same team that's older, not performing as well. Although that said, I really do hope they sign Lester to like a 1-year deal. Like I don't want his last start as a Cub to be with like no fans and not getting to kind of bask in the glory a little bit.
Well, and the same thing, it's a little bit different situation, but if they go to trade somebody, you almost hope that like a lot of the members of this team get a chance to maybe play in front of fans, before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Zobrist, did he officially, sort of retire? Or just take an indefinite leave?
Well, because he was a free agent after this season, right? Or not after, after,
I just remember he took a leave, and then that was it.
Well, so he took a leave when he got, had some personal issues,
right.
Yeah. But he did come back at the end of last season. I think he did officially retire because his Wikipedia says former.
Right.
So his last official year, was the end of last season. Nice.
And it's where you want it, all the way back in that corner,
Yeah. And this is where, you're kind of, getting excited now because Zobrist was able to get that hit, and now you're like, okay, now we actually can, trying runs in scoring position with nobody out. So, even in kind of a worst-case scenario, the worst, the only bad thing that can happen is, obviously, 3 straight strikeouts or something like that. But, you're even if the next 2 guys hit long fly balls that are caught, theoretically that ties the game, whatever.
Hunter Strickland and Will Smith are ready to go in the San Francisco bullpen.
The Fresh Prince.
Yeah. Where's DJ Jazzy Jeff?
Good old Chris Coughlin.
It's being pinch hit for, and now Bruce Bochy's going to come out and counter with a move of his own.
And I mean, some people may hate it, may be talking about pace of play and stuff like that, but I do really enjoy the kind of like gamesmanship that you see with like pitching changes and stuff like that. Obviously, you're not going to see that much anymore with the 3-batter minimum, but I do like kind of the thing like, oh, we're going to show Coughlin, now we're going to pull him back. We didn't officially pinch hit for him.
Right.
Now we're going to bring in Contreras because now you've changed pitchers. So
Joe Madden showed Chris Coughlin as a pinch hitter.
Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There's a lot of Will Smiths in pro sports. I feel like there's one that plays or used to play for like the Saints on defense. There's this Will Smith. There's now Will Smith who's a catcher for the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't know another Will Smith besides this one. And then Dodgers.
Yeah.
And he's got the tying runs out there with nobody out here in the ninth. It started with a Bryant single. Rizzo walked. Zobrist doubled in a run.
You're going to see out of Smith. The curveball looks like it rolls in there, but has tremendous spin. And Contreras, he's done his one at bat with curveballs where he has gotten a hit.
Contreras has always been one of my favorites too. I mean, not that there's really a member of this Cubs team that I was like, no, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
But Contreras is always a good one.
Right-handed hitting during the regular season. Back up the middle and through. Rizzo scores. Here's Zobrist, and the Cubs have tied it here in the ninth.
And nobody's out either. This has all been, basically a hit parade.
It's so, you think about the difference in emotions between, you got one set of fans that just went to like the lowest low they could have,
yeah.
and now you got, and they're all in the same part. You hear the groaning, the cheering,
Yeah, because the Cubs traveled. I mean, they always do traveled really well this postseason as well. So you can hear the fans.
A lot of fans.
One of my buddies who's an Indians fan said that during the World Series, it was even in Progressive Field, it was basically a home game for the Cubs.
Same thing, and like when you would go to a Reds game, at home, it'd almost be a Cubs home game.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, a lot of fans travel up to Milwaukee to.
Yeah.
He played a big part this postseason.
Yeah.
Gave a famous speech.
And so, I mean, that's just kind of, you're now in an even lower spot if you're a Giants fan because you just basically, you threw out the runner that was going to be at second, and then Crawford, who's typically one of your better defenders, throws it away, and now so basically it's the same scenario if you just would have got the out at first to begin with because then Contreras would have been at second. Both guys have speed. Obviously, you can't think that way, like, oh, well, what if he throws it away? But still, like...
He's got Hunter Strickland hot. It's Javier Baez and David Ross scheduled for Chicago, a pair of right-handed hitters.
And this is what, the fourth pitcher of the inning? Fifth?
And you look at how many hits they have at this point. Yeah. It's like they all came, in this.
Right. Well, and just a total 182, like you said, as far as you got the people cheering as well. Because, like, here you are at the beginning of this inning thinking, oh, great, we got to go Game 5, Cueto, Bumgarner. Lester would have been on the mound for the Cubs. And instead... Now all of a sudden it's a tie game, runner winning a run in scoring position or go ahead run in scoring position.
Power against power, but I would hesitate to say he even has to throw Baez a fastball with the slider and the big swing you saw right there. He was trying to hit it to the glove beyond the left field stand.
I'm also glad that the NL playoffs were on Fox for this because I do like Matty V and Joe Buck and. John Smoltz. I think they do a good job.
I like Smoltz.
I mean, the TBS guys are okay too, but I prefer this broadcast group.
Yeah, Smoltz part of the one of the greatest
Yeah.
like pitching rotations. You know.
If you don't know, Ben's a Fairweather fan, so once the Braves, once the Braves dynasty was over, he jumped ship and became a Cubs fan.
I mean, I still remember all those players. No, it's just Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox.
See, I think that's the real reason. You were a Maddox fan, and he pitched for both the Cubs and the Braves, so you're like, I'll root for whatever team Maddox is on. And there you go. 4 runs and only one out recorded.
Should have been slider. These young players for the Cubs are fearless and don't give up any inch to their competitors. And the craziness continues for the Cubs in a temporary lead.
How do you know it's temporary, John?
Yeah.
Here's David Ross. About 20 minutes ago, that oh no feeling was
that we used to have all the time.
The Cubs thinking about going home for a game 5. We were talking about John Lester preparing to make a big start on Thursday. But 4 in the top of the 9th inning against a giant bullpen that has been the Achilles heel of the team down the stretch has put the Giants 3 outs away from elimination.
And you almost wonder if like they would have stuck with like Romo and not worried so much about matchup. Like that's what can do you in too if you're just like, well,
too far ahead.
The stats say like if you know it's a situation where you've got a 3-run, you've got the max situation as far as the save goes. Again, not a manager, obviously, they've got more, they've got better instincts, more know-how than me, but Aroldis Chapman.
Aroldis.
Ross sends it on the ground to Panic to Crawford for 1. They get the double play, but the Giants have some work to do. 4 in the top of the 9th inning. The Cubs are 3 outs away from punching their ticket to the National League Championship Series. Last night, Chicago came up big. A late rally fell just short. Chris Bryant hit a game-tying home run. Tonight, Chicago has broken through against the Giants bullpen again. To the bottom of the 9th in a 1-run game.
You wearing a brace on his arm?
Yeah.
Well, the Chicago Cubs were 3 outs away from having to play a Game 5 in Chicago on Thursday night. But 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning has given them a chance to close out this series here. And it's given Aroldis Chapman a chance at redemption. Back in the more comfortable environs of a 3-out save opportunity. It is Gorky Hernandez leading things off for San Francisco.
And this is the postseason too, where Joe Madden didn't trust anybody if it wasn't Chapman or Montgomery.
Yeah,
out of the bullpen.
1-1.
Man, now I'm trying to remember who else they had in the bullpen. Was Strop?
They had Strop. They had Carl Edwards. They had which I mean, this is Carl Edwards before kind of what he's done here recently, not being the greatest out of the bullpen. Rondon is actually the guy that Chapman replaced.
All he does is average 100 miles an hour, which league average is 93. So that in and of itself tells you.
Travis Wood.
To hit 100 mile an hour fastball, coupled with the fact that he reaches out at 6.7 feet, so his release point.
But I think also Joe Madden was like, you know what? We're not signing Chapman in the offseason, so let's just go ahead and get everything we can.
Down to their final 2 outs in the 2016 season.
I mean, he's still one of those pitchers that
Yeah.
when you come up to your final couple outs, you're like, oh man.
Yep.
Amazing turn of events in the top half of the ninth. By a team that we should not have been in the least bit surprised to have pulled it off.
I'm basically surprised about everything that's happened the last 2 nights.
Matt Moore absolutely dominated for 8 innings tonight. 10 strikeouts, left the Giants in fine shape. Here's Denard Span now.
Yeah, I don't know what Matt Moore was at pitch count wise, but I know that he had been dominating. And so you kind of wonder depending on where he was at pitch count wise, because I kind of want to look that up.
Second consecutive National League Championship Series.
There's somebody that's been struggling lately.
Who?
Butler.
Yeah.
1-1. Denard Span has had a couple of great nights. A double and a triple yesterday. 2 more hits, an RBI, and a run scored tonight. I mean, how do you dial up for 102 on the corner like that?
Oh, you can't.
I know occasionally he likes to throw a slider in there, but it's pretty much always a fastball.
Yeah.
Determine how quickly they have to fire. And right now, when you stand up there, you can only imagine you're trying to show the Chapman.
Oh, Matt Moore was at 120 pitches, so he probably, yeah.
His arm fell off.
Yeah. I mean, now I did see a game where, like, Al Leiter for the Mets threw like 140 pitches in a World Series game, but I don't think you want Matt Moore doing that.
If Chapman finishes business here, this 4-run ninth inning.
See, this would be like the time where it was the whole Bartman ball.
Yeah.
Like when that happened, this is the time in the game where I start thinking, okay, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
What's, you know.
Well, because, I mean, still, you've got great hitters up at the plate. You've got Brandon Belt now, who's usually a pretty good power bat, who could potentially, crush a home run to tie the game. And then what happens after that? There's nobody in your bullpen that you trust. So, I mean, it just as easily could, you're one swing away from...
I mean, he could have got hit. You never know. Somebody's on base. Someone comes up.
Yeah, it's a home run.
Yeah.
It's a walk-off.
Now you're like, what?
Yeah.
Table flipping,
Yeah.
Boy, the Cubs are furiously trying to reposition Bryant, Baez, and Zobrist, backing them way up the middle. A ball and a strike to Brandon Belt.
That pitch, if that pitch wasn't in, that would have been the pitch he had a chance to drive. See where this pitch ends up going. It's just a little bit too far in. He tries to do his best to pull his barrel in and hands in, but he actually needs something middle away and use Chapman's power. Anything up the path of Belt's bat, I don't think can get to it.
Aroldis Chapman has not thrown a pitch under 100 miles an hour.
That's insane.
Another one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Like, from this vantage point, it doesn't look like something that's going 100 miles an hour. And then you look at the radar and you're like, 101, 102.
The San Francisco Giants have not lost.
I mean, you have to think like that if you're going to, take a pitch or whatever.
Right.
In 2003.
Can you imagine being the guy that gets told to get hit on purpose? No,
Oh,
stick
yeah.
something. I don't want to.
Yeah. Stick an elbow out. Oh, I'm good.
Yeah. Good.
Belt not going away without a fight.
No, he did a great job battling on that pitch.
I mean, not that you'd expect him to.
No.
Like, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
I had a good season.
Pitch up, ties him up.
Why so-and-so retiring? He's only 20-something. Well, he got hit with a Chapman fastball.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Woo!
The Cubs are moving on to the National League Championship Series.
There you go. One of the more exciting comebacks I think I've watched. Just from the standpoint of just a complete 180 like we were talking about. And Cubs move on. They go on to play the Dodgers, which wasn't any easier.
And a game with fans.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Yeah, wow.
All right, so that will do it for this week's episode of Memory Lane. Thank you guys all for watching. We will see you next week where we will watch the Game 6 matchup between the Cubs and the Dodgers as they try to go to the World Series. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Peace.
Yep.